This is KGW News at 5.
First at 5, the search for an armed robber. Police say he held up 2 Oregon City coffee shops in just a matter of minutes. A barista at a third coffee stand says the suspect is the same man who robbed her at gunpoint earlier in the day. KGW's Mike Benner spoke with her and joins us now with more. Mike.
And Laurel, that barista is still pretty shaken up over what happened. In fact, she'd only speak with us if we agreed to not share her name, and we of course obliged. She wants the man who robbed her at gunpoint and in all likelihood the other 2 places captured and jailed.
It's just a great place to work at.
Talk to the baristas at Keller's Coffee in Malino, and they'll tell you there's no better place to serve up a hot cup of joe.
You get to know a lot of people. It's really fun. We have a fun time in here, us 4 girls.
But this barista, who asked us not to share her name, says there was nothing fun about what happened Saturday morning. She was alone at the coffee stand when a guy pulled up to the window.
Threw a bucket in the window at me, pointed a gun at me, and told me to give him all the money. I grabbed the money out of the till. He told me to empty my tip jar in the bucket. I did.
While following the robber's orders, she managed to initiate the emergency SOS feature on her iPhone. That alerted police as well as some of her emergency contacts.
Suddenly, another car started to pull in, and I panicked, thinking either this guy is with him and I'm doomed, or there's a guardian angel watching over me. And it happened to be a regular who pulled in, and the other guy just drove away, the robber.
Turns out he wasn't finished terrorizing Clackamas County baristas. According to Oregon City Police, around 7:20 Saturday night, the man robbed Black Rock Coffee on Malala Avenue. A half hour later, authorities say he robbed Dutch Bros on Main Street. Both of those holdups were caught on camera.
When I saw the security footage, it kind of made me relive it all over again, because I remember seeing that pull up to the window, that helmet, and that exact outfit.
Take another look at the guy. Detectives say he was wearing a black motorcycle helmet, complete with a big X made with white tape. There was a mesh over the face mask portion of the helmet. The guy was also wearing a black jacket, black pants, and black shoes.
I just don't want to see more people get traumatized just over money.
She says it's a helpless feeling that would be impossible to get over if not for the Keller Coffee regulars who are showing her so much love.
Just a good feeling knowing people care about you when you serve them their coffee. So it's great.
All right, in addition to the motorcycle helmet and black attire, the suspect is believed to be between 5'6" and 5'10". He had dark eyes. Anyone with information about these holdups should contact the Oregon City Police Department. Laurel.
That barista was very brave. We thank her for talking to us. Thank you, Mike. In the pandemic now, with the Omicron surge, it may seem like getting a COVID test has never been harder. But 2 changes this week might help a bit. KGW's Pat Doris joins us live to talk about those changes. Pat?
Well, Laurel, the first is an effort by the federal government to give away 500 million tests, 4 per address, so you can't get them all at once. But they are trying to spread them across the country. The other is a new rule forcing your insurance company to pay you back if you have to spend out of pocket to get an in-home test. Both, of course, are efforts to ease the pain of getting a COVID test. And here in Oregon, we have seen long lines. This is Medford. There are also long lines in Bend. And of course, we've seen them here in the Portland area as well. As Omicron rages and more people get sick, many more want tests to know if they're infected. That makes sense. Last week, Oregon Health Director Patrick Allen acknowledged there are just not enough tests, even though the state is buying 12 million.
Today, a COVID-19 test remains a scarce commodity across the United States, and it's no different in Oregon. I know many people are worried and frustrated because timely tests are hard to come by unless you have the flexibility and patience to wait your turn in line at a testing site.
The federal government site is called covidtest.gov. When I checked it earlier today, it was just a standalone page. You couldn't do anything with it, but that's the one you want to go to on Wednesday if you want to order one of those. The test will be mailed to you, but it'll take 7 to 12 days to get there. So if you're feeling pretty crappy right now, it may just help you know that you're not infectious anymore on the backside of that. By the way, if you buy a test at the store, first, congratulations, because they're hard to find. The second, you want to make sure to save your receipt because the insurance companies seem to be requiring that to give you your reimbursement. Back to you.
Thank you, Pat. I-5 North near Terwilliger is open again after a wrong-way crash. Police say early this morning a car going the wrong direction on the interstate hit a semi-truck head-on. Both people in the car were taken to the hospital. We don't know their conditions. The semi-truck driver is physically okay. Police say alcohol may have been involved. We have sad news in the Portland restaurant community to tell you about. Rio Varnado, the owner of Rio's Ribs in Northeast Portland, has died. His family announced the death happened on Friday. Varnado helped found Rio's Ribs in 1999, bringing Mississippi-style barbecue to Portland. He was also the uncle of Snoop Dogg. The rapper posted a picture to social media yesterday saying, "You will be missed. Thank you for loving me and the whole world. You were a blessing." Varnado's family did not reveal a cause of death. In Oregon politics, State Representative Dan Rayfield is poised to become the state's next House Speaker. Democratic representatives officially nominated him Sunday. Rayfield represents the Corvallis area. A formal election in the House is set for February 1st when the legislature convenes. He's expected to be elected and replace longtime House Speaker Tina Kotek. She is stepping down to focus on her run for Oregon governor. A collapsed home forced evacuations today in a Bellevue, Washington neighborhood. Look at that home. 2 people and their dog managed to escape that when their house just slid right off its foundation early this morning. They're okay, but the homeowners John and Barb say it was really traumatic. They climbed through a hole in the side of the house to get out. John says originally a call from a neighbor woke him up, warning him about water in his driveway. He then went outside when the collapse happened and rushed back.
It was like going up a mountain with a river running down the side of the boulders everywhere and rocks and trees. And I got up to the top of the cul-de-sac and I ran up and I'm screaming, "Barb, Barb," and she was inside and she was screaming and went through an opening in the house.
42 total people in the neighborhood have been forced to evacuate as a precaution. It's unclear what caused the home to slide at this point. A water main break was reported in the area, but still too early to tell if that is the cause. What a mess. Hundreds of volunteers came together in downtown Portland for a day of service in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The nonprofit Solve organized the effort. Our Bryant Clerkley was there. Bryant, since Solve cleanup started downtown, they have picked up a whole lot of trash, haven't they?
That's right. Hey, Laurel, 60,000 pounds of trash have been picked up downtown in the last year. And a lot of the volunteers I spoke with today say that this was all about coming together and honoring Dr. King's legacy.
Because if it wasn't for Martin Luther King, we might not have been able to do half the stuff we do today.
Hundreds of volunteers came together in downtown Portland at 4 different locations to get cleaning supplies and hit the streets. This is part of a Solve cleanup where people of all ages joined in to beautify downtown. Solve is a statewide organization bringing Oregonians together to improve the environment. Today's cleanup in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. is meant to be a day of service to continue his legacy. Around 400 volunteers were signed up for the cleanup, which is more than usual.
Martin Luther King was a very special person. He advocated for peace and justice for all, and it's just very important that we stand by that.
Solve mobilizes and trains thousands of people to clean and restore neighborhoods across the state. CEO Chris Carrico says volunteers pick up all types of trash, and cigarette butts are some of the most common pieces of litter. All volunteers get a safety talk before they start. If they encounter hazardous items like needles, they're supposed to call the Solve team so they can pick it up with biohazard equipment. Carrico says if it wasn't for these volunteers, it would be hard to improve the downtown environment.
Our volunteers are the backbone of the organization. We wouldn't exist without our volunteers. Annually across the state, we have about 30,000 volunteers that come out, and they are the reason that Solve exists.
Volunteer Lauren Holmes says she wanted to support the city and dedicate the day to Martin Luther King.
His legacy is for equal rights, so just trying to make sure that we're all equal and have opportunities throughout the city and throughout our careers and our life.
The next Solve cleanup is on February 16th, and just today over 3,000 pounds of trash were picked up. And if you want to volunteer for Solve or with Solve, you can just go to their website. Laurel.
Well, we thank those volunteers for honoring Dr. King with their service. Thank you, Bryant.